Hi, I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast. Today I'm going to show you how to make the Snake in the Grass cocktail, which is the featured cocktail in today's podcast, the Snake Woman. We're going to start with a tall glass, perhaps a pint glass, filled halfway with ice. Then we're going to add 2 ounces of vodka. 1, 2. Next, we're going to add 1 ounce creme de menthe. Wow, that's green. Next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of lime juice. And then we're going to fill the glass with lemonade, which I happen to have in my Froggy's Fog cup right here. Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. Fill it with lemonade. We're going to stir. We're going to garnish with some fresh mint. And there you go. The Snake in the Grass cocktail. Yeah, this would be a good summer cocktail. Very refreshing. Lemon and lime. Right. Thanks for watching. And I hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go.
Hey, it's Karen. Guess what? It's contest time. We are giving away any 3 items from our merch store, or as I like to call it, the gift shop. All you have to do is leave a review on Apple Podcasts anytime before June 16th. We will randomly select a winner from everyone who has left a review. Every review really helps us grow the podcast. So please take a minute to listen, subscribe, and review our podcast. Unfortunately, no one related to me is eligible to win. Sorry, fam. Good luck to all who enter. We truly appreciate your support. And remember, on the Scary Spirits podcast, the movies might sometimes be iffy, but the drinks are always solid.
Hi, I'm Greg.
And I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. The podcast that combines the 2 very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits. Join us as we discuss horror films while sipping themed adult beverages.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm great. Karen, I believe this week the film was your choice. Is that correct?
Yeah, sometimes you have to own up to things, and this is one of them.
Well, first of all,
Yeah, wait.
do we have any corrections or things we need to say about last week's episode?
Speaking of owning up to things,
Do you have anything you need to say about last week's episode?
I do not. I think I was delightful as always.
You were delightful as always. I myself maybe pre-gamed a little too much. So
It was fun for me, though.
oh, it's funny. It is funny. It was a lot of editing for me. So I paid the price for it. But you remember when we were talking through the movie and you talked about Satan the cat knocking the heart over in the jar and carrying it off? And I was like, I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. Remember that part?
I do.
That was a very good impression of myself, wasn't it?
It was. Drunk you. Yes.
Yeah. So I did go back and watch it. And it was like seconds. It was so quick.
Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of still thinking that you have a different edit than I did. Because I didn't see the cat knocking it over. It wasn't in the DVD I had.
No, it didn't get knocked over. But you know why you didn't see it?
Why?
Because you don't like cats.
No, I saw it. I watched it today.
The second time. But see, I saw it because I enjoy cats.
I guess. Maybe that's true. There probably is some truth to that. I couldn't tell if it was connected to his collar, like you said, or whatever. But he did like grab it and carry it off, and it was like 10 seconds most.
I just thought Satan was one of the best actors in that movie.
That's probably true.
That's probably why I noticed it. It was one of his moments.
So I did go back and watch it, and yeah, that was part of the film.
Wait, I get a bell?
No, I don't think that deserves a bell.
I totally think it does, but
I don't.
Agree to disagree.
Okay, anything else from last week?
Did we apologize? I think we apologized enough during
I apologized like 5 times during the episode, and I kept it all in the edit.
Okay. Okay, then no.
I'm so sorry. I cannot be more sorry for making you watch this film. I believe I said that like 4 times. But this week was your choice. What film have you set up for us to watch this week, Karen?
The film that we watched this week is called The Snake Woman. And it was free on Amazon Prime until we clicked on it one too many times. We're conspiracy theorists, and we think just by clicking on it, it went up to $1.98.
Yeah. The morning it was free. The evening it was $1.98. $2.12 when they add tax, so you know.
That's what you get for procrastinating. See, if we had watched it earlier, free.
Yeah. Do you have a brief synopsis or what year was this from? Anything like that?
I do. The description reads, in 1890 England, a doctor, in order to cure his wife's sick mind, injects her with snake venom. She later gives birth to a daughter the villagers begin to call the devil's baby. They soon burn the family's house down. Years later, a Scotland Yard detective is sent to the village to investigate a rash of deaths that are caused by snake bite. It's a 1961 black and white film.
1961.
Those
were the days, weren't they, Karen?
Yeah, we weren't even born yet. Getting close, though. We're getting close.
Yeah. No, we weren't born yet. We weren't even really thought of, probably.
Or wished for.
Yeah. So when I purchased this on Amazon, it said The Snake Woman, a rare classic horror film. That was the description. It said right after it.
That's pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get into it?
Well, the drink.
Oh, yeah. The drink. I believe do we have a drink for this movie? Do we? Do we have a drink?
It's our favorite part. The drink is called A Snake in the Grass. And the ingredients are 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of creamed mint, 1 teaspoon of fresh lime juice, and lemonade to the top of the glass. You can even add fresh mint for garnish.
Yep. So you fill a tall glass halfway with ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Add everything, stir, and serve, and then add the fresh mint on top.
As a garnish to make it fancy. And Greg is obviously enjoying it right now. I'm not
very minty.
I'm not as big of a fan of it. I think it tastes kind of like chewing peppermint lifesavers. But
I like peppermint lifesavers. Spearmint even better.
If you like that kind of thing, this is your drink.
I don't think it's peppermint, more like spearmint lifesavers.
Is it?
Yep.
Mint lifesavers.
Should we give our listeners time to collect the ingredients and make their own?
Absolutely.
Hold on. And we're back. Hopefully those of you who are playing along got all your ingredients and threw that cocktail together and are enjoying its minty, lemony goodness here in, it's almost summer, right? Almost.
It's refreshing.
We're only a couple weeks away from the first day of summer.
Like you need an excuse.
All right. So are we ready for the movie? Get into this movie.
Snake Woman. Hit it.
The Snake Woman. Okay, the movie opens. We see a herd of sheep and a shepherd playing a little tin flute, right? Pan flute, tin flute.
I don't know. I called it a recorder. I thought it looked like...
It's like a tin flute.
Is that the same thing?
No, but it's like a tin flute.
Okay, so it's not what you played in third grade.
No, it's not. It's more like a tin flute.
Okay. Is it like a tin flute?
It's funny you should say that. It is. It's like a tin flute.
Okay, gotcha.
Then we see snakes in an aquarium as a narrator speaks, talking. I don't remember what he said. Any idea what the narrator says?
The story of strange happenings on the bleak moors of Northumberland at the turn of the century.
All right. Very good. I noticed the music in the title sequence. Did you make any notes about the music in the title sequence?
No, we've already established I thought it was a third grade recorder. So no, I did not. What is the music in the opening, Greg?
I don't know what it is, but it sounds like something from like Barnaby Jones or something. It's like one of those early 60s, your typical crime drama, whatever serial that you would watch when you were a kid on TV. It's what it sounds like to me. I know there was somebody who like wrote all those songs. I want to say it was Carpenter, but I'm not sure it was then, but
no idea.
Okay, never mind. We see a scientist sitting at a desk surrounded by beakers. He has lots of beakers.
You pull back and it's definitely a laboratory.
Yep. And we see the scientist or doctor. I call him a scientist at this point because we don't know what he is exactly yet. He catches a cobra from inside one of the aquariums and he starts milking it for venom. He
does. And then did you notice the top of the aquarium?
After he's finished, the scientist puts the pegboard back over top of the aquarium. Not very sturdy, I made a note.
There's
that snake could just like push that right out of the way and get out anytime he wanted.
Yeah,
he or she.
That's a nightmare waiting to happen.
Yep.
So he milks the snake. He has some parafilm over the top of the beaker.
Ooh, parafilm. Technical term.
Sticks the teeth in. Although this snake kind of looked like it didn't have teeth. Did you notice that?
No, but it looked
like he was
real
doing
to me. Oh,
yeah, it did.
I was about to say this guy knows what he's doing.
Well, we didn't see him. We just saw
his hand. Right.
Yeah.
Whoever's doing it knows what he's doing.
The hand model knows what they're doing.
Right.
And so he has now this milky fluid in the beaker.
Yep. So then he puts the venom in a syringe.
Directly. No modifications.
Nope. Straight venom. He goes into the bedroom of his wife, who we learn is Martha, and he is going to inject her with the venom, and she is not very happy about it.
Completely reasonably. She does not want to be shot up with venom.
Yeah. Martha says, nobody knows what this will do to me. And then she says, what about the baby? That was my impression of Martha.
Well, first he says, let's get this over with so I can return to my work.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not the most...
He's all work and no play, I think, this doctor guy.
So, yes, she says, what about the baby? Now, how old do you think these people look?
Did they look? They're in their 40s, probably.
I thought they
30s, 40s.
I looked it up because I said these people look like they're in their 50s. So Martha at the time of this filming was 51.
Oh.
And she's having a baby. I don't know about you, but that's...
Yeah, but back in the 60s, it kind of runs in my family. Off topic. Just like the babushkas last week. So my father had aunts who were the same age as him. You know what I mean? So I have like great aunts.
But that can mean they
were
had
the same age
early. And then some of them had
my dad was
early.
the oldest.
I'm just saying I wouldn't want a baby at 51. That would be a little tough.
Oh, yeah. Preaching to the choir, sister. No, thank you. I'm trying to retire. I'm not going to want to be paying for college. You know what I'm saying?
Well, just the effort. That's enough.
Hey.
Plus birthing the baby. Jeez.
Yeah. So Martha's husband talks about Martha's sanity. Martha's husband, who we learn is Dr. Adderson, says, "What if the child is born like you, Martha, mentally?"
I thought that was pretty mean.
Yeah, it was mean. But Martha seemed to me to be very sound, like mentally. But of course, we only see her for a few minutes, but she didn't seem crazy to me.
Well, no, and he's saying things like, if you doubt your husband, it just shows your mind is slipping away again, which...
Well, yeah.
Every wife out there just rolled their eyeballs. What a great line. As she's discussing this, he lists all the diseases that are being treated with snake venom.
That's right, he does. I remember that.
And he's the only herpetologist to cure a sick mind with venom.
That's right.
So I did look it up and there are 7 drugs derived from, it said animal venom approved by the FDA. And they treat conditions ranging from hypertension to chronic pain and diabetes. So there are actual research projects going on that use venom.
Correct. And what do you think? How many of those do you think were around in 1961 when this film came out?
Oh, 0. And none are used to treat a slipping mind.
Okay.
So, and he says, just relax and take the injection.
Yeah, just take it. Take it and like it.
Take it. And he won't let her stop taking the injections because she is the living, breathing proof of his successful experiments.
Right.
And I have eyeball roll again. This guy, he's just not my favorite.
Then Martha says, "Oh, the baby is coming."
Well, immediately after he gives her the shot.
Yeah.
So she gets the venom, straight up venom.
And says, "The baby is coming." So then Dr. Adderson says, "Well, I'll go fetch Dr. Merton." The birthing doctor, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then we see the sheep again with this.
You see him running out the door.
Well, yeah, he runs out the door.
But it was just the most awkward looking thing to me. I don't know why. It was way too long of a shot. He's running for like 30 seconds or a minute. I guess it's a long way to go. Anyway.
I don't remember that part.
Okay.
And we see the sheep again with the guy playing the tin flute.
Tin flute.
Yep. Like a snake charmer.
Mm-hmm.
Then we cut to a scene where Dr. Merton is delivering the baby.
In total silence.
Yeah.
Nobody's
the baby
talking.
Doesn't cry. No,
the baby doesn't cry.
Nothing. And Dr. Merton tells Dr. Adderson, lots of doctors in this movie, that his wife will not survive the birth. And he doesn't think the baby will either. He says the baby is cold and has no chance of life. And there is a midwife there assisting Dr. Merton. That is the old Aggie Harker.
Yeah, she freaks out.
She says the child is an evil child.
We have to say it right. How does she say it? Kind of like Austin Powers would say it. Evil.
Evil child.
Yes. The devil's offspring. Yes.
And you think it's a coincidence that her name Harker is the same name as that character in Dracula?
I don't know.
Jonathan Harker. I don't know. So Aggie Harker does a little chant or incantation.
But she makes it clear that she's not a witch, but she has certain powers. She can see things, which kind of defines a witch, doesn't it?
Yep.
But she has charms and all kinds of things on her. Yeah.
Then the baby begins crying and Dr. Merton says, "Oh, that can't be." The child blood was cold. And Aggie, the midwife, refuses to touch it because it's evil. They compare it to a reptile because its eyes don't blink.
Truth.
They say it is born without eyelids, don't they?
I think they do.
Or does that come later?
I can't remember.
So Martha wants to see her baby. They bring it to her. And as soon as they lay it down next to her, she dies. She gone.
Yep. Oh, they say it can't close its eyes. The eyelids are underdeveloped.
Oh, okay.
So, and they keep commenting on the eyes.
And I made a note that Dr. Adderson does not seem too heartbroken that his wife is dead. He just stands there.
And the baby cries and hissed like a snake the mom. Yeah, it hissed at the mom. And then Martha kicks. And then Aggie tries to kill the baby with scissors.
Yep. She searches the drawers in a chest for a sharp object to kill the child. Dr. Merton gives the midwife, Aggie, a shot to calm her down. She tosses Dr. Adderson aside and runs out of the house.
Another awkward running scene. Dr. Adderson is not broken up at all about this. No. About his wife. Just
not one bit.
It's weird. Barely acknowledges it.
Yeah. And we cut to a scene with a cop riding a bicycle through the town. He stops and parks it and enters into a pub. As you do when you're a constable. Yes. The midwife runs into the pub and warns the townspeople.
You missed a scene that, you would have missed this.
I didn't miss it.
He walks into the pub.
Yeah.
And he slaps the waitress's ass.
He does. That's right. He does. Hey, Polly.
Yeah. Smack. He and the bartender are talking about, ha, there's nothing to do here in this town. It's so small. There's no murders. Ha, 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 ha.
Yep.
Foreshadowing.
How quiet his patrol was or whatever.
Yes. Okay, proceed. Aggie.
So then Aggie, the midwife, runs into the pub and warns the townspeople about the evil thing that has just been born this very night.
Yes, everyone is doomed unless they go with her to the snakes where the evil thing was born.
Yep, and the townspeople are already suspicious of Dr. Adderson because what he does with those reptiles. So people don't really like all those snakes and crap there.
Know anyone like that?
Who, me?
Do
I know anyone like that?
Yeah.
No.
I thought you mentioned you didn't like snakes.
I don't like snakes.
So
I do not like snakes. No, I don't. So we cut back to the house where the two doctors are talking about the child. Dr. Adderson, the father, says maybe the child should be destroyed.
So one, he doesn't care that his wife is dead at all. I mean, people at all. And now he says, maybe we should kill the kid.
And Dr. Merton disagrees. Because
why? We are research scientists. That makes experimenting on your wife A-okay.
Yeah.
It's not about the people. It's about the success of the experiments.
Correct.
Doctors says, preserve the child's life at all costs for science.
For science. Science.
Yeah.
The doctors decide to take the child to the old shepherd's house on the moor. Dr. Merton takes her while Dr. Adderson stays behind. Then the townspeople come in and start looking around at all the snakes and specimens.
The mob knocks on the door.
Do they?
Yes. The doctor opens it.
Well,
I don't think I'd open the door if there was a mob out there with pitchforks.
That's true. I do remember that now.
They did.
And they ask to see his wife. And he directs them to her room. Oh, she's right in there. Which I'm not sure I would do that either. Oh, yeah, my wife's here. She's in there. She's dead. But yeah, you can go in and look at her if you like. So the townspeople decide to kill all the snakes.
Yeah, they do a lot of speeches about how snakes are wicked and throw in the Bible and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, the serpent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Causes the downfall of all mankind. When he opens the door, the constable says he's there because he's been hearing of some strange goings on up here in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I feel like maybe I know a lot of houses that could be investigated for some strange goings on. That seems like kind of a broad term. But yes, then they do the mob mentality.
Yep, they break all the aquariums, set the house on fire. And there are snakes everywhere, although I made a note that none of them appear venomous to me.
I don't know.
Just saying.
They do have a black cobra in there because that's what he milked. It was definitely a cobra.
Okay.
But did you like the snake going through this mouth of the skull?
Yeah, it's coming.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
So then Dr. Adderson lost his glasses in the commotion, and he searches around, feels around for him, and he grabs a snake, and he is bitten on his hand by a snake.
And what happens to Dr. Adderson when he's bitten by a venomous snake?
He collapses.
And?
Dies.
So why doesn't his wife die?
Because.
Oh, science. Okay.
Because it's a movie it's a low budget movie from 1961. Maybe that could be. I can already tell what you're going to be disappointed with in this movie. It's going to be the same old answer. It's going to be your go-to.
That's what you think.
And then we see a snake slither through a skull. And I wrote, pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
Came up through the back of it and came out its mouth. And of course, you can't see my hand movement, but I'm demonstrating.
He's doing a perfect reproduction.
I am. Then we cut to a scene with Dr. Merton knocking on the shepherd's door.
Well, wait.
He has the child in his arms.
Did we see the house on fire?
Well, yeah, they lit it on fire.
But it's it's like a towering inferno. The whole thing's going down.
Yeah, it was very realistic, too.
Yes.
I was kind of worried. Even though I hate snakes, I was worried about them.
Well, there was probably no animal protection laws, so I was a little concerned, too.
It looked like the fire was right there with all the snakes, and they were like avoiding it. You could tell they were avoiding the flames.
I agree.
So we cut to the scene with Dr. Merton at the shepherd's house. He convinces the shepherd to keep the child for one night because he is leaving for Africa in the morning. That's why he can't keep it. And he tells the shepherd that Dr. Adderson will be back the next day to collect the child. The shepherd's dog is not happy about this child.
No, he growls and barks, and it's a border collie for all you dog lovers out there.
It is. It is a border
collie. But I have
collie.
a question. What are they feeding this baby?
Nothing yet.
How are they going to feed it?
I don't know.
Okay.
How did you feed babies in the Moors in the 1960s?
With their mother's milk, probably.
Probably. You're correct.
I mean, I'm guessing. I'm just throwing it out there, but
yeah, they'll figure it out. He's got sheep. He's got sheep's milk, right?
It's true.
Sheep, right?
Yeah. It's not what he signed up for, though. He signed up for one night.
He signed up for one night. And we cut to a scene which appears to be the next day, and Dr. Merton is leaving for his trip.
All cheery.
Yep, and all the townspeople seem to like him. Even the cop, they're all like, "Oh, good to see you, Dr. Merton. Have a good time. I hope you're back." Blah blah blah.
They don't even mention they just murdered a man.
That's right. They don't.
And burned the 2 bodies in the house. Tra-la-la.
Yeah, Aggie's not thrilled with him, though. I made a note.
I don't think Aggie's thrilled with anyone, but
probably not. Then we cut to a scene with the shepherd playing his tin whistle, or at this point I said a little fife.
Oh, you've changed. Okay.
I've changed now mid movie.
It is a different. I think it is a different instrument.
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
The sheep are all laying down. A little girl walks towards them, and all the animals seem to get annoyed.
Yeah, dog still doesn't like her.
Yeah. Then we see a snake in the grass, much like this wonderful cocktail. And it looks like one of the sheep is dead.
Yeah, I think it bit the sheep.
Killed by a snake, maybe, I wrote.
Yes.
And it didn't really explain it, but we see the snake, and then the sheep is lying there, and the shepherd goes over, and it's pretty clear it's dead. So then we cut to a scene 20 years later, and Dr. Merton has returned from his trip to Africa. That was a long trip, 20 years to Africa.
But he tells the shepherd the research in Africa went wonderfully.
Yeah.
Now it's finished.
Yep. I'm done.
Research is never finished.
Yep. I researched and I finished. The shepherd informs Dr. Merton of all that happened 20 years ago, and that Dr. Adderson died in the fire and never came to claim his daughter. The shepherd tells the doctor that he named the girl Atheris. He says he found the name in a book in the burned remains of her father's house. And I wrote, apparently it's the name of a snake.
That's what I wrote too.
I didn't look it up. Did you look it up?
I did not.
Hold on. According to Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, Atheris is a genus of venomous vipers known as bush vipers. They are found only in tropical sub-Saharan Africa. So it is basically a viper.
Okay.
Correct?
I'm going to trust you. Yes.
Yeah. Genus. Never understood all that stuff. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, suborder, family, subfamily, genus. Is genus the bottom at the list, Dr. Karen?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right. So Atheris is the genus of venomous vipers known as bush vipers. So it is.
No. No, it is not, because then it would go on to describe each individual viper. So genus is not.
Okay. The shepherd tells Dr. Merton that the girl has been gone for a few years. He searched for her, but never found her. And the Dr. Merton seems very annoyed. You mean you let a teenage girl walk out of here and you never found her? And my God, man, what's wrong with you? That's my impression, Dr. Merton.
Well, and the shepherd just says the animals were strange with her.
Yeah.
So he let her go.
And he also tells the doctor that Aggie still has all the townspeople riled up about what happened 20 years ago. They're still holding this 20-year grudge, I guess.
Can't let it go.
Nope. She tells everyone that the town is cursed because of this evil child. Dr. Merton visits the charred remains of the Adderson house. While he's there, he sees a snake. I made a note. I didn't think it was a cobra.
No, but it chases him through the grass.
Yeah. And then we pan across the burnt out home and we see a woman, a young woman in her 20s.
So this is where I'm starting to get an inkling that the girl might be a shapeshifter.
You think?
I couldn't really figure it out up until this point.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got. I got that feeling right from when they were back in the sheep and she walked towards them and then we see the snake and the sheep is dead.
Couldn't tell if she was commanding the snakes or if she was becoming a snake, because they would show her and they would kind of go in on her eyes because they wanted to overemphasize that she never blinks.
Yeah.
And then I thought, is she telling the snakes what to do because she's a snake-like person? But here's where I get my first inkling that perhaps she's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, I think she is. Then we cut to a scene. Looks to be the pub again. A man staggers in and drops dead. He has a snake bite mark of a king cobra on his hand. And we know it's a king cobra because there's a man there, Colonel Windboard. He can tell you exactly what snake bit him just by looking at the bite. He's a snake bite expert.
Well, he
wrote, not India. Likely.
Right. He worked in India and saw many of these bites. And then his quote that I'm going to use from now on, he says, I couldn't possibly be mistaken.
Yeah, I have more to say about him later, but we'll get there. The townspeople explain to Colonel Windboard the story of the girl who was born evil 20 years ago. Then we cut to a scene in Scotland Yard. I think it said Scotland Yard.
There is.
So it's Scotland Yard, right?
Yes.
And I said, this scene reminds me of a James Bond film where Q is talking to James, right?
They look very...
Who we learn is Charles Prentice, the young investigator, is very Bond-like.
Yeah, he's very snappy dressed and,
He's a young whippersnapper.
It looks a lot different from the Moors. Yes. You go from the village and it's a very stark contrast with how nicely they're dressed. They're sharp. They're intellectuals.
Yeah. Their English is very proper.
Yes.
Yes, my young lad, and all that stuff. So Scotland Yard sends a young investigator to find out what is going on in the town, because the colonel is friends with the inspector at Scotland Yard and sends him a message.
So he's asking for a favor,
right,
to have someone come out, because there have been, they say in the records, at least one person a year die of a snake bite in this area when there shouldn't be. So
yep.
And it's a very small community, so the records must be true.
Yeah. And the colonel tells Prentice of the origination of the curse and the night the girl was born and how the townspeople burned the house to the ground. And that some of the townspeople claim they've been attacked not by a snake, but by a beautiful girl. That would be terrible.
I'm sure it's happened to you many times.
No, has not. Colonel gives Prentice a snake charmer's flute.
That
Prentice,
he picked up. Yeah, he picked up in Asia.
Yeah.
Which I can tell you, if you look on Etsy or eBay, they're about $50-$60. So if you want to go snake charm, it's available to you at this current time.
And Prentice says that perhaps music hath charms to soothe, the savage beast and all that. He doesn't say all that, but he just says music hath charms. But I knew what he meant. You know what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
Prentice tells the colonel he wants to interview Aggie Harker first. The colonel directs her to her house.
Not her house. You know what he called it?
What do you call it?
Her hut.
Her hut out in the moors?
Yes. By the way, you want to know what a moor is?
Yeah, I was just wondering that, actually. What is a moor? Tell us, Karen. What is a moor?
It's a tract of open, uncultivated upland. Do you want to know what an upland is? A high or hilly land.
Yeah, I know. Kind of figured that. Upland.
And everybody thinks...
Not quite the highlands, though. It's the uplands, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Heathcliff and Catherine on the moors. Anyway, he's going right to Aggie's hut. He's not wasting any time.
That's right. And we cut to a scene of Prentice walking through the moors, playing the snake charmer's pipe as he walks along, kind of like the Pied Piper. And we see a king cobra in the rocks. And then we see a girl.
A beautiful girl.
Yeah, she's all right. Prentice and the girl.
Might explain why you've not been attacked by beautiful women.
Prentice and the girl have a seat on the rocks. She says something about the music he played and that it stirred her.
Well, first he says, well, hello. Are you all alone? And I was like, oh, God. And she says, I've been waiting for you. Mm. And she doesn't blink.
Yeah.
Yeah, she never blinks. So anyway, yes, they're sitting on the rocks.
And the music stirred her. He plays a little more and we see another snake in the grass. Then he pulls his gun to shoot the snake, but the girl stops him, saying that it has a right to live.
And he thinks he saved her life by shooting.
Yeah, that's what he thinks he's saving her life. He asks, hey, will I see you again? No. What are you doing later? Yeah. You want to go to the pub and have a drink? And the girl says that she will only see him again if he plays his snake charming flute. Well,
he does notice when he puts his arm around her that she's very, very cold.
Yes, so he offers her his jacket.
Thinks she's so scared.
Yes. And the girl tells him that Aggie is waiting for him. And then she disappears.
Because she's worried about a friend.
Yes. And again, we see the cobra. So then we cut to Aggie's house or hut.
It's a hut. It's a hut.
There's a knock at the door. Aggie says, come in, young man. That's my impression of Aggie.
Not bad, not bad.
Aggie has tea waiting for him. She asks him to sit down and have some tea. And he says, oh, my God, why, it's warm. And she says, yeah, I've been waiting for you. Where you been? I expected you sooner than this.
But he was flirting with a young lady.
Yes, yeah.
And she looks the same exactly as she did 20 years ago.
She looks a little older.
I don't know.
I thought she looked a little older. I thought they all looked a little older in this second part of the movie, 20 years later. Aggie tells Prentice that he must have meant the serpent girl in the moors. Prentice tells Aggie that he hopes they can solve the mystery with science.
And Aggie agrees.
She agrees, but not with your science, yes, but mine, she says.
Oh, that was good. I just want to tell you, it's a typical witch hut. It's got a skull, stuffed monkey, the usuals.
I didn't see all that at this point.
Well, it gets better. Because she goes where?
Yeah, so then she opens her, I call it a hope chest.
Oh, I called it a bag of tricks.
It's more like a hope chest.
Yeah, I agree.
And inside are all kinds of skulls, lizards, books, and masks.
Yeah, she starts to pull things out. She's looking for something specific. Mm-hmm. And let me go in order. Not the human skull.
No.
Not the bird skull.
No.
Not the stuffed alligator.
No.
Not another human skull. No. Not the African mask.
Right.
Not the jawbone. But,
she finally pulls out a voodoo doll.
That's not what I think of a voodoo doll looking like, but whatever. To each his own.
At this point, did you notice anything interesting about the voodoo doll?
I didn't notice it now.
I didn't either. But you notice it later, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So Aggie tells Prentice that she was too close to the child when it was born and in keeping it alive at the time, she has lost the power to kill it.
Yeah, she says by helping it to live, she lost the power to kill it, which at this point, I thought maybe this was going to play into something later. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. But because he shot at the snake and he told her, I saved your life, I thought maybe he was going to lose the ability to kill her because in his mind, he had saved her life. Right. And by this logic, I thought, ooh, that'd be a neat twist. It's not. I was overthinking it.
Yeah, you're way too.
I was way overthinking it. Don't go down that path.
Aggie tells Prentice to fire 3 bullets into the voodoo doll that she hangs on the wall of her hut.
Yep, just in there in the house.
Yep. She tells Prentice that the snake girl will die from 3 bullets from his gun as well. Then we cut to a scene, which I assume is the next morning, and the Colonel and Prentice are having breakfast, I assume.
I agree. Breakfast, right?
Discussing the previous night's activities. Was it breakfast? Looked like breakfast to me. Looked like the breakfast I have every Sunday morning.
Does it? Okay, yes. It looks like breakfast to me.
Yeah.
But, has a little warmer on the tea.
Yes. And, little crocheteds, like somebody crocheted.
Yeah, like the babushkas would have crocheted. Just want to get that in there.
Yeah.
But then they're talking about it. And what does the Colonel say? I need a drink.
Does he?
Yes. And they go to the pub.
Right. Yeah. They have breakfast and they're discussing and they talk about the girl being cold. The Colonel makes the connection between the girl and cold-blooded reptiles. And to the pub.
Charlie doesn't believe. There's no way this beautiful young girl could be the serpent girl. And then the Colonel says, I need a drink. So they go to the pub. So maybe this is like your Sunday morning breakfast, Greg.
Well, depending on how late in the day it is. So we cut to the pub. Dr. Merton is in there having a drink. He's already there, right?
Yeah. He wanted to retire, but he...
Well, he looked pretty old. He looked like he should retire.
Well, he finished his research. He was done.
He's done. A few of the townspeople bring in a boy. He has a snake bite. He is dead. Right?
Yeah.
And they give the father of the boy a drink.
Well, the father just saunters over to the bar and has these people don't seem to, maybe it was different back then, but nobody seems upset that anybody's dead in this movie.
Give me a drink. Just give me a drink. That's all I care about. They carry the boy out. Prentice and the Colonel have a seat and discuss the latest snake bite. It is not from a cobra, but a different snake. And he says what the snake is. Yeah,
I just got it was a pit viper. And I want to know how he can tell the difference.
It was a different snake.
Yeah, it's not a cobra.
No. Hold on.
Fer de lance.
Fer de lance.
Yeah. Highly venomous pit viper species.
So that's what it is. He knows automatically that it's not a cobra bite. It's a fer de lance bite. Because the Colonel knows shit like that.
He's a freaking genius.
Yep. The father of the boy goes looking for the snake girl. He's been drinking all day.
Well, yeah, because it's evening and the boy was bitten in broad daylight, which apparently is
odd. Yeah.
Yeah. Out of character.
Cut to a scene of the father in the woods and he finds a snake. He jabs it with a pitchfork repeatedly. And then we see Atheris, the girl, watching him from the woods. Then we see another snake slither through the grass and the man collapses. Right? Yes. So we're led to believe that Atheris again shapeshifts and bites the guy and kills him, right? Is that what we're led to believe?
Yes. I'm on board with the shape-shifting now and less on the mind control. I'm here with you.
All right. The Colonel, Prentice, and Dr. Merton find the body of the man along with the dead snake. They think the case is closed because, he killed the snake and he's dead. It's kind of like a murder-suicide thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The curse is broken.
And we see a cobra watching them from behind the rocks again. Yeah, Dr. Merton says there's something he should have done years ago. Then we cut to a scene in the next day, I'm assuming. And Dr. Merton is back at the burnt remains of the Adderson house, and he's calling for Atheris. Atheris appears. The doctor raises his shotgun to shoot her. She disappears, and a snake appears and bites him on the ankle.
No more, Doc.
No, and it didn't look like a cobra to me. Did it look like a cobra?
And I was trying, at this point, I started to think, is she the non-cobra snake? And the cobra is like her parent because that's where the venom came from. So I didn't pay close enough attention during the movie to see if every time we saw her and the snake was in the grass, was it this different snake than the cobra? I didn't, because it's dark. A lot of the scenes of the snake in the grass is very dark, and I couldn't tell the difference. But I think the cobra is a different snake than she transforms into. Okay.
Then we cut back to the colonel's house. Prentice and the colonel are discussing the crime. The colonel says that the boy was killed by a furred, whatever I said. What did we say it was?
A pit viper.
A pit viper. Yes, a pit viper. But the father was killed by a cobra. And then I made a note. The colonel reminds me of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Because he can never be wrong?
No, just the way he talks. He sounds just like him. He sounds just like Alec Guinness from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope.
And there you have it, people.
There it is. There's our Star Wars reference. He sounds just like Obi-Wan. And I wrote, somehow the colonel knows that Adderson was injecting his wife with snake venom to control her mental state. He pulls out a pad of paper and he tells Prentice about how Adderson was doing this.
The colonel has gone over Adderson's research data very carefully.
All right.
Yes. Well, it was probably in a fireproof box. This is the research, Greg. It's very important.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's what it was.
And he believes the child might have been born with serpent-like characteristics. Yeah. And then the colonel and Charles fight over whether his new girlfriend could be a serpent girl.
Yep.
Charles just doesn't believe it.
That's right. And the colonel tells Charles he should just go back to London where things are always as they appear.
Yes.
Charles, or Prentice as I call him, isn't buying the whole snake girl thing. He storms out of the colonel's house and goes to the pub.
As you do.
That's what I would do.
Who wouldn't?
I know. He talks to the pub waitress, Polly. Polly gets a lot of play from now on in this film, I think. She tells him that they are sorry to see him go. He tells her that he's leaving. He's going back to London. And he seems kind of surprised that they're sorry. That Polly's sorry to see him go. He plays his snake charming flute for Polly.
Wait. Before he does that, I just want to point out something scientifically.
Okay.
Because Polly says something to him about making the facts fit his theory instead of just looking at the facts. It's a common problem in science where people make the facts fit their theory instead of making your theory fit the facts. And that's what the inspector at Scotland Yard told him to do before he came to England to investigate. Because in your head, in science, or probably in anything, you have an idea of what you want your research. It's your hypothesis. If we do this, this is going to happen. So you make all of that stuff that you do, all the data, fit what you want. But that's why we have peer review, because somebody else looks at it and says, none of this stuff really fits. So he's repeating what the inspector told him back. Then he plays the snake charmer to see if it gets Polly all riled up.
And it doesn't.
No.
She is not impressed. But tells him with practice he could get much better. That's like my mom always said, practice makes perfect.
There you go.
That's right. Charlie or Charles or Prentice, whatever we're calling him, decides to go out looking for the girl, Atheris, right?
Yes, he's off to search for the girl who appreciates his music.
Yes.
What he says. Yeah. But when he leaves...
Yeah, he does say that.
Grossly, he says, but I still love you, Polly, and gives her and blows her a kiss. He's gross. Anyway.
He's charming.
Is he?
Yeah, he's charming Charles Prentice.
Okay.
Almost like Prince Charles, but whatever. Cut to a scene. Prentice is out in the woods playing his flute and calling for Atheris. He finds what is supposedly the skin of a woman.
I love it. This was the best part of the whole movie for me. It's like this.
Please tell us why, Karen.
Well, I don't know, but she shed her skin and it's a complete human shedded skin. When I saw it, I said, "Whoa, awesome!" I loved it.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
What a nice detail.
Kind of reminded me of like if you're making a dummy and you like get one of your friends and say, "Here, I'm going to put this sweatsuit. I'm going to wrap you in masking tape or Scotch tape, and then we're going to cut you out." And that's what it reminded me of.
Well, yeah, but they should have seen one of these every. I don't know how often does a snake shed its skin.
I think once a year.
But they should have been finding these things all over the moors.
That's right, but it's just like deer antlers. How many deer antlers do you find? They shed those every year.
I guess, but this is a pretty big snake skin. And it's shaped like a human, so you'd think it would be a collectible.
I know. Well, like a human woman. Shaped like a human woman.
Maybe even more collectible to you. I don't know.
Then we see Aggie. She's out there too. Aggie, the midwife/witch, is out there looking for him. Aggie tells Prentice to go back to the Addersons' burnt house.
It's his destiny.
Yeah, again, we see the cobra in the rocks. It might be the same clip. We see over and over again this cobra coming up from the rocks.
It probably is.
Then we cut to a scene with the colonel talking to the inspector at Scotland Yard on the telephone. He tells the inspector that Prentice has already left. The colonel says he will try to catch him before he leaves.
Yeah, they wanted him to stay for some reason. Did you catch why?
I don't know why either, but that's what I have. Because we only hear one side of the conversation. We only hear the colonel's side of the conversation, right?
Yes.
So then we see the colonel back at the pub, and the colonel's talking to Polly. He asked her where Prentice is. She tells the colonel that he said he was going to go looking for a girl who appreciated his music.
Yeah, the colonel isn't happy to hear that.
No, Colonel tells Polly to gather a bunch of men and meet at his house. He's deputizing her.
Gather the troops. Get the torches.
Get the torches and some kerosene. Then we cut to a scene with a snake in the grass. Lots of snakes in the grass, just like this wonderful cocktail, which is almost gone.
You got a little more to do there.
Not much ice left either. Prentice is still walking through the woods looking for Atheris. Then we see the townspeople lighting their torches and getting ready to storm the castle or into the woods. Whatever.
The burnt out remains of the castle.
Have fun storming the castle, boys. Then we see Prentice in the woods calling for Atheris again and again, a snake in the grass.
Following him, I think. I think it's following him.
Could be. Townspeople reach the woods. They find Aggie, the midwife/witch. They ask where Prentice is. Aggie tells them he has gone to meet Atheris. Again, we see Cobra in the rocks. And we see Prentice calling for Atheris and playing his flute even more. He's playing his flute, but his fingers aren't moving a whole lot. I'm just going to say.
Craig's a musician, just so you know.
I was. All right, townspeople with their torches. Here they come. Snake in the grass. I'm tired of saying. We're just cutting back and forth. Townspeople with torches. Snake in the grass. Townspeople with torches. Snake in the grass.
And then
Prentice playing his flute. Townspeople with torches. Snake in the grass.
Charles does find the dead doc.
Yes. Prentice finds the body of Dr. Merton. Then we see the shepherd with his sheep again, and the shepherd is playing his little flute. We see a snake in the grass again.
It was odd. That scene was odd.
And we hear Prentice calling for Atheris again.
But this time,
we see Atheris.
Yay.
Prentice confronts her. He tells her it wasn't her fault and that she is what she is. It's her nature, right?
Right. It's not her fault.
Prentice says that if she trusts him, that he will keep her safe.
Do you trust anyone who says, trust me?
No.
Yeah.
No. Prentice turns away to talk to the townspeople who are calling. He turns back and there is a cobra where Atheris was. Prentice takes out his handgun and shoots the cobra 3 times. The townspeople arrive. They witness the snake slowly materialize into Atheris.
Excellent special effects. Actually, not bad for the time. You know, she does just kind of appear.
I guess. I wasn't thrilled with it.
It's 1960.
And her eyes were closed.
Oh, I did not notice that.
So we cut back to Scotland Yard. Prentice is giving his report to the inspector. The inspector reads the report, then he wads it up and puts it into the fireplace. And Prentice says, "Oh, wait a minute. There are no other copies of that. That's the only one." And he says, "Are you afraid that people won't believe it?" And the inspector says, "No, my boy. I'm afraid they might." That's my impersonation of the inspector.
You're full of impersonations tonight.
The end.
But Charles brings the voodoo doll
Yes.
back to Scotland Yard.
And this is when I notice it.
Yes.
So what is special about the voodoo doll that we notice? That is, it is sitting on the inspector's desk at Scotland Yard.
The voodoo doll has a snake tail.
It has a snake tail.
Which I did not see.
I didn't see it either until this point. Makes me want to go back and look and see if it had one the whole time.
Well, we have another couple hours before our time is up.
Yeah, it's true. Going in this movie, I didn't know. I thought it might be something like the Sinbad movies. You know what I mean? How they had snakes and I guess they used green screens and things like that and actually had like big giant snakes looking like it was attacking people.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought it was going to be, but that's not what it was at all. And I was interested to see how they might do the transformation scene at the very end where the snake turns back into Atheris.
Well, again, it's reminiscent of Frankenstein with the mob, right? And it's also, when you would shoot the werewolves in the old movies, wouldn't they then turn into their human forms?
Much like she turned back into herself, but it's different when you have a human made up to look like a wolf and it slowly fades into a face as opposed to literally nothing. We can't even see the snake, really. Right?
Right.
And it just becomes a woman there.
They're just borrowing that kind of theme.
Yeah.
So, you've got little bits of Frankenstein and werewolf, Wolfman, whatever, but I didn't see any Dracula in this one. Although
Except for Harker.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see where they pull from other classics.
Yeah.
And throw them in haphazardly just to make it a horror movie.
Anything you were pleasantly surprised with in this film?
I was pleasantly surprised about the making the facts fit your theory instead of your theory fitting the facts. I was impressed by that. That's true. Yeah. Good science there. But you want to know what I was disappointed in?
Yes.
You think you know, but you don't.
Oh, I think I know. I do think I know.
You don't.
All right. We'll see.
I am disappointed that I didn't see eggs at the end of the movie.
Eggs. Oh, yeah.
Like she had a lot of these horror films. They end. You think, if
this film was made now, there would be eggs at the end. Yes.
I'm just saying. Like
you gotta leave that door open for a sequel, right?
Well, or just for the nightmares, right? Where you think, oh, it's done. We've got it. The curse is over. But yet that final shot is always.
Or is it?
Yes. So there you go. What do you got?
I don't know.
Impressed by anything?
Was I impressed by anything?
Besides the drink?
The acting was good. I thought all the actors were really good.
Yeah, they weren't annoying.
No. The Prentice kind of annoyed me because he always left his mouth open.
He did leave his mouth open.
Every time he said something, he's like...
They can't see him, but he's leaving his mouth open. And I did notice that. He'd
say something and drop his jaw. It's kind of annoying.
I had that in my notes.
That's why he was never James Bond. But yeah, I thought the acting was very good. I was pleasantly surprised. You would think, a low budget horror movie, the acting would suck, but they were all good.
Except for the lack of emotion on deaths. That was a little odd, but maybe it was written in the script. Who knows?
Maybe he was written that way. He's not heartless. He's written that way.
Yeah. We'll give him an out.
Anything I was disappointed in? Like I said, I didn't like the transformation scene at the end, but
I think you're expecting too much from 1960.
Like I said, it's a lot harder to do. If you're going to use a snake, a real snake, and not some human-sized snake, then it's really hard to do a transformation, right?
And it's low budget.
Yeah. And I don't think any of the snakes were actually poisonous in this. They didn't have their telltale, wide triangular heads like vipers.
But the cobra had the hood. Is there a hooded snake that's not poisonous?
No.
So there was at least the cobra.
Yeah, the cobra that kept showing coming up from the rocks, which I'm
and in the aquarium.
not convinced wasn't the same scene over and over again.
No, but he milked the cobra.
I did. I was impressed with that.
Yeah, that definitely looked real.
Yeah, it was real. That shit was real. That shit really happened. How many cocktails did it take you to get through this film? How would you rate this film? I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. And it's the first one we've done that's been more kind of sci-fi, over horror, I think, a little bit. Yeah. So I'd give it a solid 3.
Yep, I agree. I was just thinking that same thing, 3. Three cocktails. Took us 3 cocktails to get through this.
But I don't think it's bad at all.
I don't either.
I mean, it's not a great movie, but I would watch it if it came on at 2 a.m.
Yeah, and if it was still free.
Right, sorry.
I might watch it.
Give it a couple months and then check back, and I bet it'll be free again.
No, it wasn't bad. I mean, I think it actually had like 3 stars or something on the Amazon Prime Video. A 3 out of 5 or something, which is what we're giving it, oddly enough. 3 out of 5 cocktails.
Well, I think if you're used to watching... In a bad way, though. Well, kind of. But if you're giving it... People who are doing that are people like us who are watching these kind of movies. So relative to other movies like this, it's very good. But comparing it to good movies, it's not good.
Yeah. But for a low-budget 1961 film, it's a good movie.
Yes. In its element, it's a good movie. Right. I would say.
So what do you think of the drink other than you hate it?
I don't hate it. It's just not my favorite one we've done.
You picked it.
I did. You liked it.
I like it.
Yeah.
It is.
It's refreshing.
It's tart. It's hard to talk.
Yeah, it
your
does
mouth
kind of,
puckers. So
because of the lemon, there's lemonade. Yeah, it does do that. I don't know. Maybe if I don't know. It's just not my favorite.
I think it's a good, refreshing summertime drink. Anything we've learned today?
I learned that you didn't like snakes.
I don't like snakes. I don't. They're sneaky. Sneaky snakes. I don't like them. They sneak up on you.
They say if you're scared of something, it's how you died in your previous life. So maybe one of them got you.
Maybe. Don't know. Anything else we learned?
Well, we learned
that Atheris is a genus of viper.
And the fer-de-lance. That's probably a fer-de-lance.
Fer-de-lance. Yeah, is another pit viper.
We learned what the amur was.
Amur, yeah. The uplands. Right, not the highlands, the uplands. It's true.
Uncultivated uplands.
Yes.
So quite a few things, actually.
Yeah. We learned that snake venom is actually used in real medicines.
Well, at least they're looking into
Venom from animals is actually what you said, right? According to your research.
I think some are snake venoms. But I just
think so. This movie is also known as The Terror of the Snake Woman, by the way.
For everyone out there looking for it.
Yep. Anything else? Should we move on to next week?
Have you picked the next movie?
I think I have.
What do you got?
Well, our next episode will air on June 16th.
Is that a special date?
You know what happened June 16th?
No.
You don't know?
No, I don't.
You don't know what June 16th is the anniversary of?
What is it the anniversary of?
That is the 61st anniversary of the red carpet premiere of Alfred Hitchcock's movie Psycho in New York City.
So what you're telling me is we are actually going to do a movie that people have seen.
May have seen. Have you seen it?
I have not.
I haven't either.
Not all the way through.
I haven't either.
So
yeah.
It's happening.
Honestly,
people.
I have never seen Psycho.
I've seen lots of Hitchcock movies, but not that one.
Me too.
I don't think I have. I do confuse it a bit with The Birds because of the Hitchcock blondes. So I can't always tell. Yeah. So I'm not sure, but we're moving on.
I'll save it.
We're moving to movies that are a little more popular. We've gotten a few of these under our belt, we're feeling a little more confident. We've thrown out the first waffle that nobody eats, and we're ready.
Right, but the better the movies we do, the more difficult it's going to be to make fun of it. So
true, but maybe we can just compliment it.
Yeah, do some serious film analysis.
That's right up our alley, serious film analysis.
Well, either we like it or we don't. What it is. Oh, yeah. I need to come up with a cocktail, right?
Yeah. Can you at least tell them the ingredients we're going to need?
All right. So here's what we're going to need. We're going to need cinnamon schnapps.
Oh, no.
Butterscotch schnapps, grenadine, and milk.
That sounds so disgusting to me.
It would be good because you shake vigorously.
Cinnamon, butterscotch,
milk, and grenadine.
I'm
intrigued. I can't wait.
Is there ice in it at least, or?
Yes.
Okay, good. So at least it'll be cold.
I can't wait. And it's called the Bates Special.
Well, you had to pick it.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, it's a cocktail designed for Psycho. It's based on Psycho. So what are you going to do? You have to, right?
Your hands are tied.
Yep. Anything else, Karen?
Do you want to thank anyone? I actually have someone to thank.
Do you?
I do. I was thinking I need to thank Kim and Luke for being my alcohol mules while I have been in my house unable to leave. They have consistently dropped my alcohol orders at the end of my driveway. So Thank you, Kim and Luke.
Yeah, those are good friends to have if you can
Absolutely.
Find them. Yeah, just go get this alcohol for me and drop it at the end of my driveway.
And they do.
Oh, that's awesome. We do again have to thank the group Verse 13 for letting us use their music in our podcast. Once again, I will put a link to their page in the show notes.
Check out our merch store. We've got new stuff going in there all the time.
I am wearing a gray shirt today and not the black one. So if you watched the YouTube of me making the Snake in the Grass, you saw the gray Scary Spirits podcast shirt.
We now have a pint glass, right?
And we now have a pint glass.
Which we're very excited about.
Yep. To be featured in an upcoming YouTube video, I'm sure.
Ooh. Maybe next time with the... Maybe next time we may see. Well, no, it's not going to be next time because that Bates special requires a very special glass. Well, you need to tell us what it is.
Coupette.
I don't know what that is.
Coupette. Coupette glass. According to the video that described how to make it, it's kind of like a large cocktail glass.
Like a brandy snifter or something?
Kind of like in our logo.
Oh.
Only it's more
martini.
It's more like this. Yeah, it's like a martini glass, only it's more like this.
Please leave that in. I wish we had video. It's a margarita glass.
I have one. Yeah, it's more like a margarita glass.
Okay. See, I got it from your little demonstration. He's framing his face with his hands.
Yeah, my little chalice. That's the word I was looking for. Chalice. Anything else, Karen?
Just remember, please drink responsibly.
Yes.
If you want to get social with us, you absolutely can. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Email us your questions and comments to scaryspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Search for us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast and check out our website at scaryspirits.com. You can find all the recipes for our themed adult beverages in the recipe den on the website. We are especially excited about our Scary Spirits merch store. Lots of cool stuff with our logo on it. You can find the link to the store on the website. And be sure to share the love and help others find us by leaving us a 5-star review. As always, thanks for listening.